Welcome to the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Today, my guest is Ivana Raslonik. Ivana is a certified master hypnotist and hypnotherapist. She is also a mother, immigrant, rebel, vegan, CPA, and transformation agent. Ivana lives in Vancouver, Canada with her family and Frenchie, Big Boss. She loves life in all forms. Stick around. I want to introduce her to you. Hi, Ivana. How are you?
Hi, Nancy. I'm very well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm back in the studio, so that makes me feel great.
Wonderful.
So first, what I'd like to ask you is your journey into veganism. Can you tell us about that, please?
So I used to dabble in vegetarianism. When I was pregnant with my children, I just could not possibly look at meat. And that was kind of like my first foray into vegetarian lifestyle. But I became vegan over 10 years ago. And what inspired me, I saw Earthlings, and I saw the best speech ever by Gary Yourofsky on YouTube, and I became vegan on that day. It was, to me, a huge shock, basically a trauma. Everything I knew about myself, thinking that I am a smart cookie because I'm educated, I have my master's, I have my CPA, I was a financial controller, and feeling pretty good about myself. But the moment I saw what I was paying for, I understood I know nothing about anything, actually, because if I had no idea about what I was doing, what kind of words I was supporting, then I totally know nothing about anything. So that was over 10 years ago in February. And I totally love being vegan. It's who I am, it's my lifestyle, it's my life, it's my heart. I talk about it every day with everyone, everywhere. And yeah, so that was me, becoming vegan in one day.
Awesome. And great movie, Earthling. Gary Yourofsky, my hero.
Yes.
And what you're saying about talking vegan, living vegan every day, and that's exactly what I do. Every chance I get, I want to talk about veganism because it's so important, because like you, I didn't know what I was supporting either. And then all of a sudden, when I went vegan, I started learning all these things, and it was like an education, because all of a sudden, like you said, I knew nothing. It doesn't matter where I was in my life. I realized I knew nothing, and all the deceit that goes on when we are made to live this way. So awesome. Now you are a hypnotherapist and a master hypnotist. Tell me about what that means.
I help people who don't have a voice. So it's very much fitting with veganism and with my own experience coming from communist Poland and very strict Catholic family, authoritarian family, and myself developing social anxiety and depression. So it was just such a natural fit. After I ended my 20-year career as a CPA, financial controller, I just wanted to do something completely different with my life. And that became my new path, because it totally fits with veganism. Animals have no voice. They have no voice. And as a vegan, I lend them my voice. There are people, actually 300 million people, who have social anxiety and they don't even know they have, because they were denied their voice when they were little through upbringing that was harsh, disrespectful. There was spanking, which by the way, 85% of Americans were beneficiaries to spanking, which is a total humiliation to a little child. And I love working with people whose lives were taken away from them, basically their dignity, their voice, their power, their inherent power that they have within was destroyed by that upbringing forever. People go to careers like I did. I'm an artist, but my social anxiety picked accounting career for me so I can hide from people. So I don't have to interact with people. So when you have social anxiety, you hide. You basically hide. You arrange your entire life around that because you are constantly nervous in social situations and you always think what other people think about you, how they judge you. And I didn't even know I had social anxiety until just very recently. So I enjoy working with people who are suffering from social anxiety, insecurities, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, procrastination. Those are all decorations for one thing, which is called fear. And it is holding us back from living life that is loud, wild, unlimited, just like we were born. Because when we were born on day one, we were all unlimited or loud, all, wild beasts, shameless. And then it went downhill. So I think that veganism actually helped me to arrive where I am right now with being hypnotherapist and helping people discover that power within so they can speak freely. So I love that right now.
Okay, so let's say this is Nancy and she comes to Ivana and says, okay, I have so much anxiety because I'm a vegan activist and I have to deal with the flesh eaters that are around me every day, making jokes they think is funny, which they're not, and they kind of stab at somebody's soul because you're trying to talk and speak and lend your voice to the animals and they keep on bashing you down with their dumb jokes. So I have so much anxiety. So I come to you to help me. Are you going to hypnotize me or are you going to help me figure out what's going on?
You know what I do? I went to several hypnotherapy academies and I started with the traditional one when you put a person in a hypnotic state through induction and, eyes closed, deeper down, and then you are in a state of hypnosis. But then I discovered conversational hypnosis, which is eyes open, having a conversation because people are in a trance with their eyes open. When they are consuming animals and animal products, they are in a trance because they were all born vegan. They were all born with the love for animals. They have been hypnotized by the carnist society. So they are already in a trance. It's no a need to close your eyes if you're already in a trance. So if someone comes, and I actually worked with vegans who are experiencing deep trauma from living in this carnist society, and they want to be powerful and being having anxiety, it disempowers them. So I help them discover that power within. So because people will always behave in a way that we might find annoying, frustrating, but we can regain control over our own mind. And I'm also yogini, so I practice yoga, and yoga has nothing to do with physical exercise. For those who actually practice yoga and dive deep into what yoga is, it's a beautiful art and science of systematically understanding that brain and integrating all layers of our being, the mind, body, soul, into one, and going outside of our limited being, which is that body, into unlimited. Because why do we feel for those animals? There is a life force within us that resonates with that life force within. So it's it's kind of like a spiritual connection. So when people get grounded in that, then they can gain authority over their own emotions. And I teach people how to create the emotion of their desire, on demand, calm, peace. You can create that emotion. So when you learn how to create this emotion, you can heal from the trauma. You will understand that that universe is going in the right direction. We are not the first civilization that is going towards extinction. There were many before us, and they disappeared for the same reason we are going to disappear, which is overexploitation of the environment, viral diseases, and wars. All three are happening right now. So what will happen if we disappear, or rather when we disappear, that whole planet will rejuvenate, will heal, and will develop intelligent species which are governed by conscience, not by survival. And I know it, I can feel it, and I help people feel it. So they know they are no longer living with despair and powerlessness and disempowerment and depression. So they can exude that energy, that life force, and they can become a role model of a vegan who is powerful and who has control over emotions.
Wow, that's powerful. Can you make everyone vegan?
I think it's this misconception about hypnosis. I wish, but this misconception about hypnosis, because people watch hypnosis in movies or on stage. This is a show hypnosis. Actually, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I can't hypnotize you against your wish. Those people on the stage are carefully chosen. They want to be there. They want to be hypnotized. So if someone does not want to be hypnotized, they will not be hypnotized. That's one big misconception.
Right. And I was messing around, but when I asked you if you could hypnotize everybody to be vegan, I wish it was true. But yes. what I mean to say is that sometimes when you see, like you said, in a movie or on TV where they're showing someone hypnotized, it's always boom, 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 and you're in a trance and you don't know what's happening. But that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about manifesting those desires that you want within you, and you can unravel what's keeping you from it and help guide someone to achieving that. Is that what we're talking about?
Absolutely. And a person who is a carnist is a vegan person who forgot that she or he was born vegan, because when you look at children, how they relate to animals, when they hold an animal in their arms, I am yet to see one omnivorous child who would bite into that animal through the fur. Never happened and will never happen. Or if it happens, then the parents would send them to a psychiatrist. It's a clear proof that we are all born vegan. We all love animals. We are all born with empathy, but there we are being de-empathized. So when I deal with a carnist, I see a child with him, inside of him, and I see that potential, and I can talk with that person, and I can go back to that moment where they had an open heart. So I can work that way with a carnist, but not if they are unwilling. Then unfortunately, it's not a magic wand.
Right. And, and trauma, like when I see people taking their kids hunting or fishing, they're really traumatizing the child. I believe that to be true. And if they're not outwardly showing it, sometimes they do, they cry, they don't want to do this. Sometimes they don't outwardly show it, which means it goes inward. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of just stays there throughout the years, even though it wasn't, it's a trauma that will resurface at some point in time. Mm-hmm. And I say this because I remember um, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and we lived in New York. But when my mom got divorced, we went back and lived with her father in Puerto Rico. And my grandfather, love him. However, they used to do all the fresh cooking and whatever. So that means that they killed the chickens and things like that. And I remember being really young and being asked to go to this place to get a chicken to bring back, which I did. And I picked the cutest chicken because I didn't know what was going on. And then I brought it back. And then my grandfather in front of me took it by the head and just twirled it and just sent it down the balcony. That has scarred me for life, because that was such a horrible thing to experience. And especially now as a vegan, I say to myself, people don't realize what they do to their kids when they do these kinds of things, because that's the last thing a child has in mind. As you said, they love animals because they know better.
Yes. And it's so much easier to deal with people who are meat eaters when we see inside of them a child who was lied to, who was conditioned, who nobody takes us for a field trip to a slaughterhouse. Surprise, surprise, why not? If we are omnivorous by nature, we would really enjoy seeing the river of blood, wouldn't we? So people do not make that connection. I have them make that connection. And then there is this huge bonus of health. It's environmental, well-being, vital energy within us, slim body. I mean, it's just win, win, win for everyone. So it's very easy to actually present a case for veganism, as long as we see inside of that person a child who was born vegan and is just, right now it's caught because, the whole family is non-vegan and everybody is craving love. So how can that person who is caught in the network of carnists can step aside and declare, I am a vegan freak. I'm not like you. Who has the strength to do this? Not many people have the strength to do it. So I'm really happy to work with anyone who wants to make that transition and facilitate that transition for them.
Thank you, Ivana, for all the information you supplied us with. Now, I know you have a YouTube, you have a web page and a Facebook page, and I'm going to connect all our viewers to all those so that way they could reach out, because you are available to anyone all around the world, since our new virtual reality due to COVID has brought us all a little bit closer to each other.
Yes, I do all my sessions online, and first I meet with anybody that wants to work with me for a conversation to find out if we resonate on the energetic level and how I can help. So if you are traumatized, or if you suffer from social anxiety, insecurities, or just find it so painful to live in this world, reach out. And we'll have a friendly digital coffee together.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivana, for joining us on
Thank
the
you
Vegan
for having
Pulse.
me, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another Vegan Pulse. Remember to check out our website, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.